There are some comments about the quality of the interior trim over time. Plastic parts creak in the cabin, the trunk lid lock rattles, the interior door handles and steering wheel upholstery become worn. The all-mode 4x4 transmission is controlled by a convenient rotary control located on the center tunnel. There's enough legroom in the gallery for tall people, but there will not be enough headroom for a person over 1.85 m tall. The convenience of sitting in the middle is enhanced by the low central tunnel of the body. The third row of seats in the 7-seater version of the Qashqai Plus 2 is designed strictly for children. Adults should not sit there. In profile, you can recognize the 7-seater version of the Qashqai Plus 2 by the elongated rear window, and in front by the chrome-plated radiator grille. For the 5-seater version it is made of black plastic. All Qashqai are distinguished by high passive safety. According to the results of Euro NCAP crash tests in 2007, the car won the maximum 5 stars. There are no complaints about its corrosion resistance. The salon is decorated in a modern way. The basis of the design is round elements of parts. There are a lot of them inside. Thanks to the high seating position and well-positioned pillars, visibility in the Qashqai is good. There are some comments about the ergonomics of the gallery of the 5-seater versions. Getting out is made difficult by the doorway narrowed at the bottom, which is why you cling to the door panel and the carpet under the rear seat with your foot. The door of 7-seater modifications is longer, making the disembarkation process much more convenient. The rear seat backs of the Qashqai Plus 2 are adjustable in angle. They fold to access the third-row seats, and the cushion moves forward. Compared to classmates, the cargo compartments of both modifications are average. The trunk volume of the 5-seater Qashqai is 410/1515L, while the Hyundai Tucson has 325/1375L, and the Mitsubishi Outlander has 420/1100L. I have good news for you. Now, if you are planning to buy a used car, or learn more about your car, you no longer need to search for the information you need on the internet. We have collected everything in one place for you, on the website carmi.pro. Here you can find out everything about the car, what breaks and at what mileage, any problems with engines, chassis or gearboxes, which trim levels are better not to mess with, and how not to lose money buying a used car. You will learn all this on carm.pro. In our country, the most common versions are with a 2.0-liter gasoline engine. 1.6-liter modifications are slightly less common. Employees of the branded service station said that the crossover is equipped with new generation engines, in which the weak points of similar units previously used on other Nissan models were taken into account and eliminated. As a result, the reliability of Qashqai engines has increased significantly. Typical problems include failure of the fuel pump. Failure occurs due to the use of low-quality fuel. Replacing even a non-original part is not cheap, about 2,000 UAH. Another problem is that over time, due to dirt deposits, the fuel level indicator may lie, underestimating its actual amount. I filled the tank, it shows about half. In addition, loss of sealing of the front engine cover was noted. The seal needs to be replaced. There are no other serious comments about both Qashqai engines. Variable valve timing systems and individual ignition coils work without problems. The timing drive, equipped with a durable metal chain, also requires no maintenance. Theoretically, valve clearances need to be adjusted, although the manufacturer has not set clear deadlines for this work, and in practice they are performed only during cylinder head repairs. The chrome plating of the interior door handles often peels off, and the leatherette on the steering wheel trim is very worn. The thermal shield can come off and lie on the exhaust system, which is accompanied by an unpleasant ringing sound. The weak points of the front suspension are the support bearings of the front struts and the silent blocks of the front subframe. A design feature of the rear shock absorbers of the Prairie-styling Qashqai is their loud operation, which is manifested by an unpleasant knock when driving over uneven surfaces. In versions with a CVT variator, failures of the gearbox selector limit switch were noted. Qashqais come in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Structurally, the all-mode 4x4 all-wheel drive is similar to its older brother X-Trail. It uses an electronically controlled center clutch. In normal modes, to save fuel, the vehicle should be operated as a front-wheel drive vehicle, 2WD mode. On wet, dirt or snowy roads, it is recommended to drive in auto mode. When the front wheels slip, the rear wheels automatically engage. If you have to overcome a difficult section, you need to use the lock all-wheel drive mode, then the clutch will lock, distributing the torque equally between the wheels. At speeds above 30 km per hour, the transmission automatically switches to auto mode. Despite the high ground clearance of 200 mm and the presence of all-wheel drive, the Qashqai is a typical SUV. The off-road capabilities of the car should not be overestimated, although it can overcome light mud, sandy and snowy sections of the road. As operating experience has shown, all-mode 4x4 is quite reliable. The same can be said about the manual gearbox. But the continuously variable CVT, which is more common than manual transmissions, can be a concern. Problems were noted with the gearbox lever selector. The P, parking, position limit switch failed, which is why the lever cannot be switched to D, drive, mode. You can get to the service by pressing a special emergency button near the selector. The repair involves replacing the selector. After this, the problem usually does not recur. In addition, in rare cases, bearings and CVTs failed, which was accompanied by a characteristic trolleybus hum when driving at speeds of 40 to 50 km per hour. Maintenance of the mechanics consists of changing the oil every 90,000 km, and the variator every 60,000 km. For practical motorists, we recommend the Qashqai Plus 2. It is more spacious than the 5-seater version. It is designed for 7 people, and with the third row folded, its trunk is 140 liters larger. Although the maximum volume of both versions is almost the same, 1515 and 1520 liters, respectively. The most widespread in our market are the 2.0-liter petrol versions paired with a continuously variable CVT. Both Qashqai suspensions are independent, McPherson at the front, multi-link at the rear. The most typical complaint about the chassis is a knocking sound in the rear suspension. The reason is the hard rear shock absorbers, which handle uneven roads in this way. After restyling, the manufacturer began to use shock absorbers that work better and quieter. Other weak points have been identified in the Qashqai suspension: the support bearings of the front struts and the silent blocks of the front subframe. They can fail even with low mileage. The bushings of the front and rear stabilizers, as well as the front struts, on average have to be changed every 40 to 50,000 kilometers. The rear stabilizer struts last 60 to 70,000 kilometers, wheel bearings often require replacement up to 100,000 kilometers. At the same time, the silent blocks of the front levers and ball joints can last more than 100,000 kilometers, and the rubber bands of the rear multi-link 150,000 kilometers. Unlike the younger Micra, the Qashqai's electric power steering works without problems. Tie rod ends serve almost 150,000 kilometers. The only possible trouble is the creaking of the steering shaft boot, which can be treated with aerosol lubricants. There are no comments about the reliability of the brakes. Compared to its competitors, Qashqai has many modifications, which allows you to choose the right version. The purchase of this model can be recommended to those who need a car with greater ground clearance and better off-road capabilities than ordinary cars. Overall, the Qashqai is reliable. The main problem is the fragility of some chassis parts. An important advantage of the Qashqai compared to many competitors is the availability of 5- and 7-seater versions, which provides great opportunities when choosing the most suitable car. The crossover is characterized by high passive safety, good corrosion resistance, and visibility.